rivers, there are many dangerous rapids. Even though for skilled or experienced fishermen, they're dangerous. But for a little boy alone in a boat, it's a 10-day. And yet the boy survived. He went on a great adventure all the way down to Khmer Kingdom, which is now we call Cambodia or Cambodia. In the Khmer Kingdom, the king saw that he was a special child, so he took care of him as his own son. The boy grew up as a prince. When he was a young man, he married a Khmer princess. Her name Keo Kanya. They lived together in the kingdom for many years. They had lots of things and everything they needed. But something trouble with the prince. He was so sad. He couldn't finish his meals and couldn't sleep at night. And for a long time, he couldn't understand why he was so sad. Finally, he found this. He was homesick. As soon as he knew this, he couldn't continue staying in Kawat anymore. When he was 37, he and his wife returned to Luang Prabang, where he was born. He established the kingdom of Lan Sang and brought the Buddhism as religions. At that time, the kingdom was one of the most powerful kingdoms in the regions, and Fangum was one of the most powerful kings. He ruled the kingdom for 20 years until something happened, which meant he had to stop. One day before she was old, his wife, Keo Kanya, died. After this, he was so sad and so heartbroken that he couldn't continue ruling the kingdom anymore. And so ends the story of Fang. But this is only the beginning of the story of Luang Prabang. The name Prabang comes from Prabang Buddha, a statue just given from Angkor Wat to Lan Sang. Luang just means capital. Luang Prabang was the capital of Laos before it was moved to Vientiane. Even though it isn't a capital anymore, it's still very special for the whole lot of people all over the country. For example, there is a popular folk song. It's called Kaptum Luang Prabang. It mentions about a man from outside Luang Prabang who wants to be the husband of Luang Prabang woman. Again, this is we call Kaptum Luang Prabang. It's very popular. Usually it has man and woman singing together, and usually it's longer too. I sing a short version tonight is because it's only me. Singing and storytelling is still a popular form of entertainment all over the country. The most popular character in Lao stories is Siang Miang. Siang Miang was a clever young man. He was supposed to be the most clever man in the whole kingdom of Lan Sang. But he was very naughty. He loved to play tricks on people, especially the king. In one story, the king called Siang Miang for a meeting. Siang Miang, I want you to come tomorrow morning. Come very early. Come before the rooster crows. Your Majesty, you want me to come before the rooster? Yes, before the rooster. The next morning, Xiang Mian was there in bed even longer than usual. A little bit after lunch, he goes to the king's palace. He walks in with his hand behind his back. Xiang Mian, why are you so late? Your Majesty, I am not late, said Xiang Mian. And then he shows the king what he has behind his back. It's a rooster on a rope. See, Your Majesty, I came before the rooster, just like you said. Very naughty. Another story of Xiang Mian. This time, the king makes chance for Xiang Mian. He chanted Xiang Mian to trick him into getting into a pond. Xiang Mian, if you can do this, then I will admit that you are the most clever man in the whole kingdom of Lansang. Your Majesty, I will not try to trick you into a pond. However, if you were in a pond already, I'm sure I can make you come out. All right, said the king, and he got into a pond. Xiang Mian, if you are the most clever man in the whole kingdom of Lansang, make me come out. Well, Your Majesty, why would I do that? After all, I just tricked you into a pond, didn't I? We also have many stories that explain about the origin of natural features. For example, the Mekong was created as a truce between two fighting nagas, or dragons, or water serpents. One naga named Sisuton, who was very angry when his friend gave him a gift of porcupine meat. Naga Sisuton had never seen a porcupine before and thought the long hair sticking out from it was a bone. He saw a small amount of meat and a big long hair or bone and thought his friend was very stingy. So he started a great big fight, which is only finished when the gods got involved. They told them to stop fighting, to keep them separate, made them dig 2 rivers. One of these rivers was the Chao Phraya in Bangkok, Thailand. The other was the Mekong. The Nam Khan River was secreted as a result of a fight. In this story, 2 brothers were fighting over a pair of elephant tusks from the father left them. One brother cut the other into a half. So all that was left was the top half of his body. He had no legs. He couldn't walk. He could only crawl. So he crawled into Nam Khan River. This is where the name comes from. Nam means river. Khan means crawl. Once he was in the river, he became Ai Tong Guang. Ai Tong Guang was a giant snake that used to live at the end of Nam Khan River, where it meets the Mekong. He used to stop boats from passing and was a very dangerous snake. Until one day he was killed. So, if you go down to the place where 2 rivers meet, you will see a big rock in the water. This, according to traditions, is the body of Ai Tong Guang. Another story. This time is about the origin of Mount Pusi, or Pusi Mountain. In this story, the Queen Sita from Ramayana lives in Luang Prabang royal palace. Mayam. queen was very hungry for mushrooms, but she didn't leave the palace. She asked the Monkey King or Hanuman to bring her some mushrooms. Of course, said Hanuman. He was a little bit relieved about getting mushrooms. However, his relief didn't last long. There is mushrooms, said the queen. There are very specific kind of mushrooms. The kind of mushroom that I want come from Sri Lanka. Hanuman couldn't believe it. Even though he could fly, Sri Lanka was the long way to go for mushrooms. But the queen was the queen. He had to do it. He set up the mountain in Sri Lanka where he knew there was a lot of mushrooms. A while later, he came back with a big basket of mushrooms. Oh, thank you, Hanuman, said the queen. They look delicious. But I'm sorry, there aren't kind of mushroom that I wanted right now. Maybe you can try it again. Hanuman was a little bit confused, but of course he agreed. He set up the mountain again. A while later, he came back with another basket of different mushrooms. But it's still the wrong kind of mushroom that the queen wants. Your Majesty, said Hanuman, perhaps you can tell me the name of the specific kind of mushroom that you want. That way it would be easy for me to bring it to you. Sorry, Hanuman, said the queen. I can't. You see, the problem was this. The kind of mushroom that the queen wants is called Hetsanun, or the monkey ear mushrooms. The queen knew that if she told this to Hanuman, she would upset the Monkey King. So instead, she kept sending him up to the mountain and hoping he would bring the right one. Hanuman kept on up to the mountain and bringing the wrong kind of mushrooms until suddenly he had an idea. He set up the mountain again. After a while, he was back. This time, he didn't have the basket of mushrooms. He had the whole top of the mountain. He put the mountain top in front of the queen and said, "There, Your Majesty! The kind of mushroom that you want must be there somewhere." So the mountain has stood in front of the palace ever since. It named after the Queen Sita. Pu is the Lao word for mountain. Si comes from the Queen Sita. That's why we call it Pussy. And the real story. But the story that I want to tell you now for the rest of the show is about two different Prabang mountains, Putao and Punang. Long ago, there was a poor family. A father and 12 daughters were searching food in the forest. They went deep and deep into the forest until they were very tired. They stopped the clearing to have a rest. "Kids, here are some bamboos," said the father. "You all can go and fill up this bamboo with water. The river's over there. I will wait here." In fact, the father has planned to abandon his daughters because he was very poor. He couldn't take care of all of them. The 12 girls didn't know that the father had cut a little hole at the bottom of a piece of bamboo. They went to the river and tried to fill up the bamboos, but they couldn't. They tried again and again all day. Until it got dark, they returned to the clearing. When they got there, it was empty. "Daddy, Daddy, where are you?" shouted the girls. When there was no answer, the girl started crying, and they cried until they fell asleep. The next morning, the youngest sister, her name Jantapatu, was woken up. She thought it was her father. In fact, it's not. It's a giant, a big lady giant. What are you doing, little girl, here? Asked the giant. Well, we are waiting for our father, answered the girl. Your father, he's about this tall with the black short hair. Yes, how did you know that? Well, I saw him 5 minutes ago. He was under the mango trees. The mango trees, was he okay? Yes, he was very happy with eating a big mangoes, eating and dancing and singing. Do you remember what was he singing? Oh yes. ดีใจเด้ดีใจเด้บ่มีลูก12 คนอีกแล้ว Like happy, happy, no more 12 daughters. When the girls heard about this, they started crying again. But the giant offered them to her house. It's a huge palace. So the 12 girls returned to her palace and lived there for many years. But one day the 12 girls were exploring the palace. They saw something that made them to leave the palace. They were walking down to a dark corridor with the light room. Inside the room, they saw many, many bones of mice and elephants, even humans. But worse than this, on a shelf inside the jar, they saw a living, beating heart, which is a giant's heart. When they saw this, they started running away from the palace. Eventually, they arrived at the city of the king Balutasen. In the city, the king saw that they were beautiful ladies. So he married them, all of them. When the giant heard about this, she was very angry, and she transformed herself to be a beautiful woman. This anxious planned to go to the king's palace to be his queen. But before she left, she told her adopted daughter, her name Gang-hee, to take care of her heart. Gang-hee, I keep my heart inside the room down the corridor. Make sure it is safe, and I will make sure the 12 girls suffer. The next morning, the giant set off to the king's palace. When she got there, the king saw she was such a beautiful lady. So he married her too. Now, the 12 girls were moved to the standard parts of the palace. They were very sad. But it's not suffer enough, thought the giant queen. One day, the giant queen pretended to be sick. The king went to get the mordu, or astrologer, to find out what was wrong. Meanwhile, the giant queen transformed herself to be a mordu and told the king this. Your Majesty, I am very sorry to tell you about your wife's sickness. The reason why she is sick is because of 12 sisters. What we need to do is to take out the eyes of them. The eyes must be sent to the giant's palace. Meanwhile, the girls must be sent away, never to return to a cave in the far, far north. The giant queen knew that the 12 girls would live for their eyes, but she didn't know that her servants forgot to take all the eyes out. There was one eye of youngest sister left. With his eyes, she could see things like small insects inside the cave. They were able to be alive fighting these insects until one day the youngest sister, Chatapatun, gave birth. After she gave birth, she saw something brightly colored in the cave. She took her baby, the baby boy, and went to see it. When she got closer, she saw it was a rooster, a big little rooster. Chatapatun was thinking how to cook the rooster. Wetly spoke. I am a special rooster, said the rooster. I'm from the heaven. I'm here to protect your son. Every day to fly to collect food to feed your son to make him strong and growing fast. This is exactly what the rooster did. The boy grew up a strong man. And one day he decided to go out to cave with the rooster. They went to the local village and entered many competitions like boat racing, rooster fight, buffalo fight, and so on. They won every competition they played. One day the king heard about this skillful boy and he ordered him to his court. I have heard people talking about you, boy. They say you win many competitions. What is your name? I have no name, Your Majesty. Where are you from? I'm from far away, Your Majesty. How far? In the far north, Your Majesty. What's the name of the village? I came from the village, Your Majesty. I came from a cave. When the king heard about this, he remembered about 12 sisters, and he knew it was his son. The first thing the king did was to give the boy a name, Putasen. The second thing asked about his mother and aunties. When the king asked about this, Putasen lied and told the king that his mother and aunties were already dead. The reason why Putasen said this is because if the Giant Queen knew that his mother and aunties were still alive, she would have them killed. Also, if she knew who he was, she would have him killed as well. This is exactly what the Giant Queen tried to do. One morning, she pretended to be sick again, and again to transform herself to be a mortal and told the king this. Your Majesty, this time your wife is very sick. What we need to do this time is to go to Giant's Palace to get the medicines. The person who must go there must be Putasen. Of course, Putasen knew this is a trap. But he also knew that his mother eyes and auntie eyes would be kept in his palace, so he agreed. But before Putasen set off, the Giant Queen wrote a letter. The letter says, when this man alive, please kill him. She put it to the bamboo tree. Give to Putasen, give to her daughter, Ganghi. And then Putasen set off into the forest on his journey. After a while, Putasen stopped under the banana tree to have a rest. And then he fell asleep. While he was sleeping, a hermit appeared in front of him. This hermit had a special powers. He knew that something bad would happen to this man. He pulled the letter of the bamboo tree and read, this is about killing this man. So he destroyed the letter and wrote the new one. This time the letter says, when this man alive, please marry him. He's a very nice man. Put it back to Putasen, and then disappeared. When Putasen woke up, he continued his journey. And when he arrived at his palace, he knocked the door, like, and putting his hand on the sword ready to protect himself from the enemy. But when the door opened, he saw somebody beautiful. That was Gang He. When Protestant saw Gang he fell in love with her and he gave her the letter. After Gang he read the letter, she fell in love with him too. So they married each other and lived together in the palace. One day Protestant was exploring the palace when he discovered with the giant's heart. But not only this, he also saw the eyes of his mother and aunties. When he saw this, all his memories came back. He knew that he couldn't continue staying in the palace anymore. He has a planned escape from the palace. He organized a big party and got everyone in the palace Mao Lao, like so drunk that they fell. While they were sleeping, Protestant went to the room and collected all the eyes and Jan's heart, put it in his bag, and then he left the palace. The next morning, Gang He woke up. She couldn't find Protestant in the palace. She asked her servants to look for him, but still couldn't see him. After a while, she suspected that he must have gone to his father's palace, so she got her army to follow him. They caught up with Protestant, who just finished crossing a river. Honey, please, wait for me, I'm here! Shouted Gang He. Protestant didn't turn around. Gang He called for the second time, but still he didn't turn around. This time he put his fingers into his ears. Gang He called for the third time. This time Protestant made many bamboo thorns and threw them across the river at Gang He. Gang He destroyed them. And then he made a big ball of fire and threw it across the river at Gang He again. He destroyed it. Finally, he made the river rise up into a big wall of water. This time, Gang He couldn't destroy it. All she could do just look through the water as Protestant moved away. Gang He was so sad and so heartbroken that she died right up at the riverbank. But before she died, she turned her face to the Tevada in the heaven and said, I love my husband so much. I gave him my heart. I gave him everything, but he abandoned me. I do not ask for any explanation why. All I ask is, may he die for love like I have done. When Protestant arrived at the cave, he put all the eyes back into his mother and aunties, and they were able to see again. After that, he set off to the king's palace, where the king and the queen were eating lunch. Oh, welcome back, my son. Join us for lunch. Protestant sat down, putting his back on the table. What's that in the bag? Asked the king. Is that a medicine? What heaven is not the medicine, said Protestant. Although this have the power of life and death. While Protestant was saying this, he pulled the heart out of the bag. When the giant queen saw this, she was very angry, and she transformed into a giant again, and she jumped at Protestant. But before she could get there, Buddha pulled on his sword and stabbed the heart. Immediately the Chan died right there. So Buddha explained everything to his father, and the 12 gurus were brought back to the palace and lived there happily. But something trouble with Buddha. You see, he still misses his wife. His love to her was so strong, and he never stopped being strong. Even at the riverbank, the sulphur was so sweet to him that he had to use bamboo thorns and fire to silence it. He couldn't bear to hear her voice or to around to see her face, because if he did, he knew that he couldn't continue helping his mother and aunties. But now he got his mother's and aunties back, and they're all back to the palace. He couldn't ignore his love anymore. So Buddha decided to go back to see his wife again. When he arrived at the riverbank, he was so sad and so heartbroken to see Ganghi's dead body there that he died, like stopped his heart. And he died right there. Buddha died for love as Ganghi had done. So, Buddha died with his head at the feet of Ganghi. When the Tevada in the heaven saw this, they thought it wasn't right for a man to have his head at the feet of a woman. That would be a bad example for next generation, because wife would look like the head of the family. So they rearranged positions. This time, Ganghi's head was at the feet of Buddha, and they have stayed like this ever since. So, when you go down to the river after the show, you look across the Mekong River, you will see two mountains look like two people lying on their backs. The mountain in front of you is called Punang, or Girl Mountain. The small one on the left is called Putao, or Boy Mountain. These, according to traditions, are Buddha and